This video is how I got into Moko Jumbie and how Carnival changed my entire life. Currently, I'm a multidisciplinary artist, I'm an international performer, and founder of Northern Jumbies, which is my Moko Jumbie group, where I teach people how to walk on stilts for the very first time. And I've been documenting my Moko Jumbie journey from day one over on Instagram, and I feel like I've never actually sat down and talked about how I got into Moko Jumbie, how Carnival has influenced my practice, and pretty much how we got to where we are today. So let's just jump right in with some backstory on myself to give you a little bit more context into understanding how I've been navigating this whole Moko Jumbie journey. I'm originally from a really small town in Manitoba with a population of just over 3,000 people, and I was attending Balmoral Hall High School, which is downtown Winnipeg. And when I was looking into universities, of course, I was definitely very peer pressured by my peers to go into sciences. It was a very STEM heavy school, so a lot of influence was on medicine, law, sciences, and as me, the very artsy Black kid, I definitely was like feeling a little peer pressured to go into sciences and to go into med school. So one day we're attending a university fair at the high school, and I'm with my dad. We're walking around, checking out different booths. I'm looking at U of Calgary, U of T, all those universities, and over in the corner, there is a little booth with OCADU written in big font. And my dad's like, go over there, go talk to them. And I'm just like, I don't really want to. I don't really want to go into art school. That's kind of weird. No one in my class is doing that. So, like, why would I? Luckily and very hesitantly, I walked over and asked them if they had anything related to medicine. So, like a medical illustration program. And they were like, oh, yeah, we do. It's called Life Studies, and gave me a pamphlet. And I went home that night and started my application to attend OCAD University. Fast forward to around April of 2020, and I get accepted. Of course, the pandemic hit. Let's just fast forward to 2022 because we know 2020 was just a bad year for everyone. So fast forward, I'm still attending OCAD, online, mind you, in Manitoba. Finally, when classes resumed in person, I was practically in third year. And so being isolated and still being back home, I really was on the hunt for finding community. I would do literally anything to get involved into different things that was happening at the university. And that's when I found out about Almeida, which is the Black Student Collective at OCAD. I remember the first time that I went to any of the meetups, it was like in a park. I would say that this is the first time that I really felt community in this way. Then soon after, I became the vice president of Almeida. This part of the story is needed for context just because one of the members from Almeida asked me one day to come over to her place to do like a little painting night. So I was like, oh yeah, sure, of course. That sounds like so nice. I'd love to join you and do some painting together. In this girl's basement, I painted this. 2 mask figures, blue background, very colorful. At that time, did not know about Carnival. I did not know about Moko Jumbie. I didn't know about Jab. Didn't know what horns represented in a Caribbean context. But something called me to paint those. And for me, looking back, I feel like the ancestors planted a little seed and was like, here's something, now go off and go explore that and research and actually understand what it was you painted that one night. And honestly, that moment changed my entire life because then my art practice shifted from this medical illustration, anatomy, to then finding ways to connect deeper to my Caribbean culture through my fine art practice. So because I was attending OCAD University, they give out free passes to go to the AGO. I'm on the second floor. All the way in the back, there's this sculpture. The sculpture is by Zach Ove. It's called Moko Jumbie, and it is a tall figure on stilts. And when I tell you this is actually the moment when I learned about Moko Jumbie for the first time, it was in the AGO. And I remember when I was looking at it, having so many questions because I was reading the didactic and it was like, oh, Moko Jumbie, it's this figure that represents protection. And I'm sitting here like, I've been painting these mask figures for a year and I wanted them to represent protection. That really and truly, without even knowing about Moko Jumbie. Oh, these masks, they represent protection, they represent power. But I had no idea that those were the exact same things that Moko Jumbie represented. So now I'm scrambling, I'm going home, my heart's racing. I'm like, what is Moko Jumbie? How can I get into it? This is so amazing. I don't know how to explain the feeling, but it was like a visceral feeling of you need to get into this. You need to learn how to do Moko Jumbie no matter what. And sure enough, there was an OCAD U professor that builds stilts and has his own Moko Jumbie group. So next thing you know, I'm on the 4th floor at the OCAD U Richmond building location, and I'm learning how to walk on stilts in the building. I honestly remember that summer like it was yesterday because I spent every single day up on stilts learning. I was at Butterfield Park, I'd walk up and down Queen and Dundas Street. And I remember when I wouldn't practice for a day, getting back into it felt like I almost had to restart. So I really was trying to be consistent with practicing every single day in order to not lose like the fear of the heights or the balance, and really trying to build that muscle memory. And starting at 3 feet was no joke. It was no joke. Because of course falling is like the first thing on my mind. So trying to calm my nerves, but then also pick up this practice and learn how to move and learn how to dance were all things that were completely new to me. Again, I come from a small town in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where this practice has never been seen before. Being the first person in my family to learn this tradition, I felt like it was a really empowering thing. And especially as a Black woman that's always felt like she had to be shy and shrivel herself up and to not be seen, being seen so publicly and also being seen trying something new was daunting. It was very daunting, but I feel like it made me the person I am today, so I'm so grateful for all of that. And so closer to the end of the summer, I actually went to Trinidad for the very first time. I brought my stilts there, and soon after I attended Caribana, the Toronto Caribbean Carnival, whatever you want to call it. And looking back, I just cannot believe that my first experiences of any kind of carnival setting was on stilts. And I feel like that just set the foundation for how I go about attending all of these different carnivals that I go to. I remember being in my thesis year, in my last year at OCAD, I was being mentored by Anique Jordan. And I'm telling Anique Jordan about all these paintings that I was doing, how I wanted them to represent protection and power. And I was also telling her how I had just spent the entire summer learning how to walk on stilts. And she was like, well, why don't you just take that mask from your paintings and wear them on the stilts and see what comes from it? And looking back, I'm like, why didn't I just do that myself? But I think I needed someone to tell me to explore that and to take these masks off the 2D and actually embody the character. And I remember I recorded this really bad quality video and I made a mask out of cardboard and painted it. And that was the very first time that I ever wore my own mask while performing on stilts. So that's why I feel like I needed to give some backstory, because I grew up in this small town in Manitoba. I moved to the big city. Now in a friend's basement, I paint this mask figure, which is a sprinkle of a seed by my ancestors. Fast forward, I'm now learning how to walk on stilts at OCAD. And not too long after that, I'm off to go attend different carnivals. So the first one that I went to was Tobago Carnival. Then I went to Jamaica Carnival with Walking Tall. Grenada Carnival was with Skywalker's Grenada, and London was with Moko Jumbie, which, by the way, these are all things that I will get into in separate videos, just talking great detail about my carnival experiences in each country that I've been to. And so that's how carnival changed my life, and how Moko Jumbie really did become this big figure in my art practice that I've been so excited to just dive in deeper. I did a lot of research, especially in my thesis year at OCAD, so I have a lot of knowledge about Moko Jumbie, which is another video that I will make talking about the history of Moko Jumbie. And if you were to take away something from this video, I would say 2 things. The first thing I would say is to document everything, and even when it's not going well. Document you trying something new. Document your experiences. Document your failures. Just have a record of it in some format. Me, I chose video. I chose short form videos to share my journey of Moko Jumbie. But it's always so nice to look back and be like, oh yeah, this is where I started. Or, oh yeah, that's how this informs that. And 2, it is always to trust your gut. I know it's probably been said a million times, but I feel like if I didn't take that risk of attending OCAD, I wouldn't be here where I am today. And if I didn't take that risk and went on that hunt for community, I would have never ended up painting in the basement with my friend. We would not be here where we are today. And so that's how carnival changed my entire life.